Hello, and welcome to Calming the Chaos podcast, where we talk with people around the world who can help you find peace in a chaotic world. I'm your host, Tracy Canella, licensed mental health counselor, certified eating disorder specialist, and advanced clinical hypnotherapist. Calming the Chaos podcast is for those who want self-help resources and education. It's not a substitute for counseling or psychotherapy. So if you like what you hear, please subscribe and share it with your friends. Thanks so much for listening. And now, let the chaos begin. In this episode of Calming the Chaos, we are going to get right to the heart of chaos with two gentlemen from Australia. This is Don and Hutch, and they're going to tell us about cardiac arrest and when it happens unexpectedly on a bike ride and lessons learned after being dead. It's so great to have the two of you here, Don and Hutch. Welcome to Calming the Chaos. I've been looking forward to this interview. You guys crack me up. Hello.
Hi, Tracy. How are you?
Hey, Tracy. How you going? By the way, yes, we were dead, but you missed the part about one of us came back to life again, which is the good news. So
yes,
yeah.
I wanted to have you tell about that because you two have been, as you call it down in Aussie land, mates for quite a while, right? How long have you two been friends?
That's a good question.
I think we worked
25.
Oh yeah, Don would say 25. I'd probably say 15. It depends how you classify friends, but that's okay. That's okay.
He keeps a ranking of these things of his friends.
Yeah.
I'm just below his dog, only because I saved his life.
25 years you two have been mates, and you have always done things together, like bike riding. Is that right?
Yeah, we're very lucky. In the last would have been just over about 17 years ago. We actually moved, my family and I, we moved to be very close to the same suburb as Hutch. So we hang out, we've hung out a lot over the last 17 years, even more so.
Seen our families grow up together. I mean, my daughter's 16 now, so it gives you an idea of how integral Donnie and his wife have played a part in my life and my family's life.
I remember when you came and told me that you were pregnant. Your partner was pregnant.
Yeah. There you go.
Wow. So you've been through a lot together. And so the big thing that attracted me to you guys, I mean, not only because you guys are super funny, and by the way, the one on the left is Don.
And very good looking. And very good looking. Very good looking.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
He's got to do that now. He's got to do all that now because I've saved his life. So really, he's just my human slave now.
Yeah. So this is Don, and I'm
you are Ian Hutchinson.
Yes.
And better known as Hutch, right?
That's right. He's the survivor.
Oh, actually, slave.
No,
he calls me a slave now. But anyway, yeah.
He is, yes. So Hutch is the one who had the incident. Now we'll have you tell about whatever the incident of chaos was on your bike ride, a fateful day. How many years ago was that now?
3
years ago.
3 years ago, yeah.
Yeah.
Who wants to tell the story, and where do we even want to begin? And you can just pick up and wherever you would like to about yourself or about the incident. It doesn't matter. We're just
sure. I think that the other thing that's really important too, Tracy, is that we are great mates, and you'll see us have a lot of fun and probably joke around a bit. It's just that we believe a lot more people learn when they're having fun. So we definitely, it's a definite choice to look at the lighter side of our ordeal. For many people, it's an incredibly serious and frightening and scary thing that happens in their life, but it's a definite choice, and so we make light of it for that reason.
And look, Donnie's background is in comedy and entertainment, so my background's in corporate training, and so between the two of us, we like to try and help people save lives like my life was saved, but do it in a fun fun way.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yes. And we'll talk a little bit more about that when we talk about your trainings and the offerings that you have. And again, I really, really like your work. So yeah. So then, yes, you've been mates for many years. And the 3 years ago, you were on a bike ride together.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what happened? We were out every Tuesday morning. We go for a normal bike ride, and something really weird happened on that particular Tuesday morning. It's never happened before. Donnie was actually leading the bike ride, and that usually never happens. And then within seconds, I just blacked out and clearly, obviously, went into cardiac arrest. And I was then, Donnie jumped in like a Superman. A couple of bystanders were walking past, a jogger who'd just been CPR trained, and they rang 000 or 911 as it is in the States, and followed the instructions, basically gave me CPR for about 10 minutes until the ambulance arrived.
Yeah.
And then I was taken to hospital, luckily under police escort. So I don't know whether you know what a green corridor is.
No, tell me more about
Yes.
that.
So a green corridor is it's when all the traffic lights go green, and it's usually reserved for dignitaries,
Presidents,
and royalty, and all
VIPs,
that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't get a green corridor.
No, he was not. He's not worth a green corridor. He wasn't that special.
But I then got to Royal North Shore Hospital. Still didn't know what the situation was, and I was in hospital for 2 weeks. And at the end of those 2 weeks, I had a defibrillator. I was in a coma, actually. They put me in an induced coma, and pretty traumatic for family and friends. And Donnie didn't know whether he'd done enough, and was I actually going to survive, or was I in fact going to have any brain damage, which clearly is apparently
it's very common.
Yeah. So I was in hospital for 2 weeks. At the end of those 2 weeks, they, were trying to work out what actually went wrong, and as a security precaution, that they put in my own internal defibrillator. So it's called an ICD. It's an internal cardio defibrillator.
Come on, you want to show? Come on, you want to show them?
Everyone at home. You can see. Can you see?
Boy.
Make it. Can I make it stick? There it is. There's a little baby there. Very much like a cigarette lighter.
Yeah, a Zippo lighter.
Yeah. Two cables into my heart. So if anything happens again, we'll talk about cardiac arrest, difference between cardiac arrest and heart attack. If anything happens again, this little baby just kicks in. So I actually got that implanted actually on my birthday. Well,
what a fantastic birthday present that was.
Coincidentally.
Happy birthday.
Yeah.
I've actually been celebrating that birthday ever since, because the great thing about that piece of technology, of course, is that it takes all the pressure off me. So if Hutch goes south again and things go wrong, I just stand clear, and that little sucker kicks in and brings you back to life, which is great.
But if you want to get a bit of a reality check on this, we've got an extract from a 911 phone call that we've sort of condensed down into 1 minute, just to give people who haven't heard one before or get an idea of the situation. So here's a 1 minute extract of a 10-minute phone call.
Yeah.
Ambulance emergency, what town or suburb?
Hello, Eleanor Road and Gift Creek Reserve Park. Yes, hold on, I think he might stop breathing.
Okay. Is he awake? Stay with me. Is he awake?
Yes. No, he's not.
He's not. Now, is he breathing?
No, he's not.
Stay with me. Okay. All right. Now I'm organising some help. Stay with me. Okay. Yep. Okay. Now, is there a defibrillator available?
No, there's not.
There's not. Okay.
No.
Now, listen carefully. I'm going to tell you how to do resuscitation. Okay? Place the heel of your hand on the breastbone in the centre of the chest, right between the nipples. Now place your other hand on top of that hand. Now pump the chest hard and fast, at least twice per second and 5 centimetres deep. Okay? Until help can take over. Now count out loud and I'll count with you, okay? And let me know when the ambulance is with you.
I can hear it.
Okay? Now, so someone can keep an eye out for it and wave them over?
Yes, they are. They are.
Thank you for that. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, doing a good job. They keep going and stop until they take over, okay?
Okay.
Now, the paramedics with you?
Paramedics here now, yeah.
Okay, look, I'll let you go to speak to them. All the best. Thank you.
Well, come to think of it, I should have interviewed that 911 operator too. She really kept her cool, don't you think, huh?
Well, you want to tell the story?
Well, it's
That's Donna.
That's Donna, and we just recently got to meet her, and I'm sure it's exactly the same for the people at 911 in the States as it is here for our emergency services. But they're so well trained, and they give you the confidence in those very stressful situations. We met Donna, like I said, for the first time.
It was a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. And we'd found out that was her first cardiac arrest call. She was in training that day. She had an assessor sitting behind her assessing her calls because she hadn't quite been certified or finished her training. And that was her very first cardiac arrest call. And she did a fantastic job. She was probably a little bit critical, saying she took too much time or technical. Man, I tell you, she gave me the confidence to get through what was a very chaotic situation.
Yeah.
No kidding. And I think that, so Don, you were actually not performing CPR, but you were doing the mouth-to-mouth part. Was that right? Or did you?
Yeah, look.
Well,
yeah, unfortunately, I did draw the short straw there. Tim, as Hutch mentioned, was a jogger who'd recently just done his refreshed his CPR training. He jumped in straight away. He was absolutely fantastic and started doing compressions, which meant I had to do mouth to mouth. Like I don't know what he'd eaten the night.
He would have loved it. He would have loved it.
A curry or something. It was terrible.
Can I just say, tip number one: if there's an emergency situation, jump in and do the compressions first.
Yeah,
because it means someone else is probably going to do the mouth to mouth.
Or always carry mints with you. Always carry breath mints. Is the other thing.
Yeah, give him a Tic Tac, right?
But
exactly.
The amazing thing from that situation, the thing that we realised is that we were just so lucky. It was a perfect storm because unfortunately, in these situations in Australia, only 9% of people will ever survive and live to talk about a sudden cardiac arrest. So the Triple O operator was absolutely important. The fact that the Caroline and Anne, we used their phone, and Tim and I,
two other bystanders coming past,
helped us. It was really a team effort to have such a fantastic outcome with Hutch still here today, 3 years on.
So I was very lucky that we had not only Don, and you could bet your house on Don, but also three others there as well. You know, one's holding the phone, one's doing swapping over rotation compressions, and then one making sure the ambulance got flagged down and knew exactly where to come. Because that was one of the issues. Is when you listen to the whole recording, it was hard to locate. There was no street address because we were
in a bushland sort of area setting,
close to a road, but we were there was no street address, so they couldn't give a definitive spot. So it took the ambulance 10 minutes to get to me, and I was what they call clinically dead for 18 minutes, which means that I wasn't supporting my own heartbeat. Yeah. Someone else had to, and actually got Donnie broke 3 of my ribs during the cardiac compressions, which is a good sign. It means he was doing it properly. In about 40% of occasions, ribs were broken. So he was obviously doing it very well.
No, it wasn't me or Tim. It was the paramedics that broke your ribs. Like when you see them doing the CPR. Professionals doing the CPR, it's very strenuous. It's very vigorous. Obviously, we were doing it well enough to keep him alive, but they don't mess around at all.
Boy, oh boy! So they actually broke 3 of your ribs.
Yeah. These 3 here, and probably took about 6 months. But all it was a reminder. I couldn't laugh very much. All it was a reminder how lucky I was.
Yeah. But normally that is the sign, though, as Hutch said, of good CPR. If you're doing CPR properly, you're going to break ribs.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
And so you couldn't be around Don for a long time because you couldn't laugh for a long time. Is that right? Right? 'Cause you can't be around Don for very long without laughing.
He turned up at the hospital every day in his hero cape with his mask, and made sure that he got lots of appreciation and glory. So it was good to see him.
Although Hutch's natural manner also, of course, is a very funny, likable person. And to be honest, when he came out of the coma, that was the first part of his personality which cut in. He was joking around from the moment he regained consciousness. The funniest thing was, though, and we found out afterwards that this is normal. He was in what you might call a loop. He was in a almost a 20-second loop where that's all he could remember or retain, and
like a goldfish.
Like yeah, absolutely like a goldfish. And that happened for at least 24 hours where we're all there, and he'd be reintroducing me to his partner's parents, and I've been there all day, but he doesn't remember any of this.
Look, I've been brought up well. I was taught to be respectful and introduce people.
Yeah.
Clearly that's some good values that I have, and he gives me a hard time for that.
And he would suddenly you see him just go, "What happened?" And we'd say, "Oh, you've had an accident and your heart stopped." Really? Whew. And you go, "What happened?" So eventually we just started making up a whole. You ate too much. You've had too much McDonald's. You've burped. You've anything. We were all just going around the room seeing which was the most ridiculous reason to give Hutch for why he was in a hospital.
Currently, my lawyer is just doing the final papers for emotional abuse. We'll be serving them to Don fairly shortly. But I woke up from my coma. You can be in a coma apparently for 3 or 4 days. I was lucky that I popped out the next morning, and I woke up with quite a bit of pash rash because Donnie had given me
probably
mouth
doesn't
mouth.
Understand what that is.
Well, you know what pash rash is?
No, I'm thinking
No,
of something around
it must be an Australian term. It's when you get kissed too much. A guy's beard gives you rash, so it's a pash is a kiss in Australia. So quite a bit of pash rash, but the good news is that Donnie's wife Robbie assures me he's a very good kisser.
I'm sorry, I did not get time to shave that day.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't know it was happening, so
No.
Otherwise you would have shaved, right?
Absolutely. I always stay clean shaved now, just in case I've got to jump in.
Shaves for special occasions. But look, if you look at the enormity of the situation, I mean, my partner didn't know. Donnie didn't know. Family didn't know if I was even going to survive the next morning. So pretty sleepless nights. So again, this is why it's so important to just know the basics of CPR, so you won't have this regret that, gee, could I have done more?
I mean, you talk about chaos, Tracy. Sure, the initial moment of when it happened was pure chaos, but to be honest, until you came out of your coma, chaos was in my head every second, every waking moment, with worry and just, did I do enough? Is he going to be okay? This is it's pretty scary.
Right. Is he going to remember he owes me $500?
Yeah, I think I'll add a couple of zeros to that.
That I didn't lend him.
Right. Put that in his little goldfish brain. And
Exactly.
Zeros to that.
Sign this.
I have a picture here of Hutch and his partner, and
lovely.
I was one of the very lucky 9% who survived, and so the two of you have made it your mission to really help remember. Those other 91% now that is an Australian statistic, I believe. And so, and then also educating people, just being able to help people get CPR friendly in just minutes and in a light and a fun way. And I just love that statement.
Yeah. Look, I'm very lucky to be one of the 9%, and I believe the stats are very similar in the States. Also, as you can see by that photo, I'm very lucky in punching above my weight with my beautiful partner, Katie. There you go. Throw it back up there. So
you must have woken up and thought you'd won the lotto when you saw her there. And you're my partner?
I'm not sure. I can't remember if she's my partner.
Wow.
Can't remember if she's my partner or
and
not.
I kept saying, no, that's my wife, Hutch. That's my wife.
Oh, my goodness.
But we are definitely, we're about paying it forward as much as we can. I think when we realised how lucky we were after the incident was the real spark that ignited the whole CPR-friendly movement that we've been pushing for.
Look, we went out and thought, look, we've been trained in CPR, I don't know what it was, 35 years ago, and thought, if it happens, compressions, couple of breaths, but there's just a little bit more than that, and particularly with the new technologies around defibrillators. And I don't know if you heard on the 000 phone call, but or the 911 phone call, but when the operator said, "Do you have one of the first questions is, do you have a defibrillator?" And now that we know what we know, we heard her voice sink slightly when
when she said that.
When Don said no, because she knew the stats were now getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And in fact, every minute of inaction of doing something reduces someone's chances of survival by 10%. So the quicker you can get, we'll talk about defibs maybe later on. But yeah, look, very lucky. And we thought, well, we've done CPR training.
What can we do?
But did we know enough? And we went and started researching for about 6 months, looking at what's all the CPR training out there. And there was anything from going and doing a certification, which is 2 or 3 hours, through to a couple of YouTube videos. And we thought, well, everything's pretty serious and earnest. We're in a lucky position because of our backgrounds in corporate training and comedy. So we understand that engaging audience, getting cut through in a fun way is really important. There's nothing out there too fun about it. We can take the mickey out of each other because we've been mates for years, and we've got a hero here and we've got a survivor here. Perfect combination. Let's see what we can do to pay it forward, and that's why we created CPR Friendly, because you don't have the time to get certified. Well, at least get a little bit CPR friendly, because a life can depend on it. So that's where we.
I do have your website here.
Oh,
and
look at you go.
Great
fantastic
website. I actually went on there and took a training myself. It was amazing. It was so fun. I had
all free. It's all free.
Yeah, all free. Doesn't cost anything.
We just want more people to be able to save more lives, to get a bit of extra life, like I've been lucky enough to get. Yeah. And Donnie's been lucky enough to get with me still in his life, which is a real enhancement to the quality of his life.
The quality of my life is just I'm walking on sunshine because you're there. Not to mention my lawns get mowed, my house gets cleaned by him,
Mortgage
my car
payments.
gets washed. Not at all.
Yeah.
No, I'm very lucky.
So CPRfriendly.org is what we started, and it's really all just about getting people a little bit more CPR friendly, so they've just got a little bit more confidence that they would know what to do, because the stats,
to jump in.
The stats are pretty scary in the States. I believe something like 350,000 people every year die of sudden cardiac arrest. That's close to 1,000 a day. And so many of those, like myself, could have been saved if people had just known a couple of basic things to do.
And I think that in the statistics too, Hutch, around this is that in emergency situations, I think it's 70% of bystanders say they feel helpless and don't know what to do, which is really the big goal that we're trying to do. Is we just want to give people that confidence to have a go, because the one thing that we've learned, the most important thing we've learned, is that any attempt is better than no attempt at all. No matter how you feel, jumping in, any attempt is better than none at all.
Yeah.
So when you say that any effort is
any attempt is better than no attempt.
Right.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so you have all of these different trainings on your website here.
All free.
All of them are free. And
Yep.
I took the 45-minute one, which was absolutely entertaining. I loved hearing you guys do your I guess it's CPR rap or something. And
The
somebody
rap.
did a-
Yeah.
At the end.
Yeah.
Stick around to the end. Yeah.
Exactly. So, and then we've got as little as 5 seconds. Now, come on, you guys, you guys can at least spend 5 seconds on their website and figure out something. And even if it is just calling 911 or 000 or wherever you are, there's something that you can learn. 5 seconds, 15 seconds, 3 minutes, 10 minutes, 45 minutes, and 3 hours. All of them are free.
Well, the 3-hour one is, if you want to go, they're just links to organisations like St. John and all that sort of stuff. Some of the organisations,
Red Cross, things like that.
Yeah, if you want to go and get properly certified, then that's where you go. Yeah.
As a counselor, I had to get my CPR card, but that was a long time ago. And I remember the airway, breathing, compressions, ABCs. But you two go beyond that, and you talk about the doctor's ABCD, which I really like. I love acronyms anyway. This is actually, if you go onto the website, you'll actually see this come up, and it's an invitation for people to get trained, or for them to get trained to be CPR friendly. And so they're very serious about being lighthearted and funny. So
wow, we almost look like our pictures there. That's incredible. Actually, Doctors ABCD is the Resuscitation Council of Australia industry standard. That's what
I think it's probably world standard now.
Probably world standard. I'd be surprised if it's not the same in the States.
Yeah, a few years ago it was just ABCD. And then, I think it was ABC, and then D came on the end, which is for defibrillator. And then the doctor's part is the danger. Response, and send for help. We can run through it. If we got time today, we can run through it. Otherwise, it's all on the website. You can download a one-page guide on it as well. You can stick on your fridge. Just quickly run through. So do the 5-second training. Do the 15-second training. 3-minute training. It could save a life.
And the thing too, Tracy, to remember about this is in 98 or 5% of the situations, it will be either a loved one or a family member or someone you know and care about. It's very rare that it's a total stranger, even though sometimes I pretend I don't know Hutch. But it will be a loved one or a family member that you are saving. So having this information is so critical.
Yes, it is for sure. So, well, I have a couple of questions I'd like to ask you guys. And first off, I know, Hutch, you said that you did not remember any of this, right? So you didn't have the big old light in the tunnel, and you went through, and you had this sense of peace.
Well,
and
I'd love
floating.
to tell you I went up the tunnel and there was light, and then I then had to go down some stairs. It was getting very hot down there. So I decided to quickly run back up, and luckily that by that stage I got resuscitated because the gate going up was locked.
Yeah, I don't want to go down to that warm place, right?
No, it's getting hotter and hotter every step. I don't remember any of it, and
actually, you lost everything from that whole day, even hours before.
Yeah, and I don't know whether it's I've tried to research this a little bit. I don't know if it's the body just wanting to blank out trauma. I don't know whether by losing oxygenated blood to the brain, whether it affects your memory and your memory just gets wiped. I don't know whether it was the drugs from the induced coma. But it took me about 3 or 4 days to slowly get my memory back, and that was a bit challenging for family and friends because they didn't know is he going to stay like this.
Yeah, I know. So he comes out of the coma and we go, oh, thank heaven he's alive and he's talking and it seems to be normal. And then suddenly you're in this 20, 30-second loop all day long. And it's very hard not to suddenly go, oh, no, is this when they talk about the brain damage? Is this what it is?
That could have been a bit boring for you over the next 20 years.
But luckily that wasn't the case. So
wow. And Don, of course the whole thing was chaotic, right? From the fact that you were in the lead. I have a question.
Yes, thank you. I'm happy you've pointed that out, that I was in the lead on the bike ride, even though he said I was.
Yes, you were in the lead. So how did you know that because he was behind you, right? How did you know? Did you hear something? Oh, you heard it?
Yeah. He, all I heard was him yelling out. He just was able to get my name out.
Dick.
No, that was not my name. It was not Dick. You might have been swearing at me because I was setting a fast pace. But that's all I heard. He was, and when I asked you about that, like you probably didn't even get my whole name out. You obviously just knew. You had like 2 seconds of consciousness. He yelled out my name loud enough that I turned just in time to see him collapsed over his handlebars and careering off into the bush unconscious.
I probably know what it was like because this little baby here has gone off a couple of times.
Yes.
Actually, it hasn't gone off for about 3 years. In the last couple of months, it's gone off twice.
Yeah.
You don't know it went off last week. And,
well, I suspect.
And so what that is, what that's like is because I'm now a pickleball addict. I don't know if you know what pickleball is.
I do.
Yeah.
I do know pickleball. We play pickleball down at the little racket club here.
Yeah. Gotta love pickleball. Yeah. I love it.
International coach now. Certified international pickleball coach.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
So now, so the other week, I was end of a game, not doing anything particularly dramatic, and I just within about 3 seconds, I felt like I was blacking out, and then boom, this kicked in before I hit the ground. This had got me back, and I was conscious. So I was kind of conscious through the whole thing. So this works like an absolute trooper. And it's very comforting to know that if a fatal arrhythmia happens again, then this will kick in. And probably worth mentioning the difference between a cardiac arrest and a heart attack.
Sorry, I'm still just taking in that it's happened again.
Yeah. So,
it's nothing like a podcast to reveal the big reveal,
is a scoop,
right?
A scoop. Yeah. So
did it hurt?
No, it feels like you're getting slammed in the. Well, for me, it felt like I was getting slammed in the chest by a tennis ball when I'm standing at the net.
Because the first time it happened, you said that wasn't.
Well, it's a bit the same. It's exactly the same.
Is it?
Yeah. So there
kinda
we
like
go.
A jolt, huh? Kind of like a jolt.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And actually, I had my pickleball paddle in my hand, and I went down and it jolted me, and then I saw my pickleball paddle about 3 meters away. So
Wow.
Yeah. It was. It certainly does its job very, very well. So the difference between a cardiac arrest and a heart attack. So because a lot of people put them together. A heart attack is a plumbing issue. So it's typically someone might be you might perceive them as being unhealthy. Their diet, they might be overweight. They don't exercise very much, and potentially that's where their arteries are getting clogged, because of either diet, exercise, lack of exercise, or maybe a genetic imposition. So what happens in a heart attack is they might feel pain in their chest.
Yeah,
they might get sweaty.
Those things,
yeah, that sort of thing. I would much prefer to have a heart attack than a cardiac arrest.
I'd prefer you didn't have either, to be totally honest.
So,
right.
A heart attack, might take 10 minutes to an hour. And you've got an 80% chance of survival with a heart attack. Whereas a cardiac arrest, boom, the heart just goes typically into fibrillation. It's an electrical issue of the heart, where the heart gets fired potentially too fast or in an unusual rhythm electronically, and it can't get the right oxygenated blood to your brain, and so you basically black out within seconds. Cardiac arrest happens in seconds, whereas a heart attack happens. You will know about it, bit of pain. Let's go get into the hospital.
At least have some signs,
Yeah.
some signs to start and warn you or think something's wrong.
And because of the electrical aspect of a cardiac arrest, then a defibrillator is the only thing that can reboot the heart. And the technology with defibrillators is so good now that you just press a button and you put them on your skin here and here, and just do whatever it tells you to do. And it will scan the heart. It will tell you to stand back, and you might press a button, and then boom, and then it will count you in to continue CPR. So it gives you a counting pulse, and it will direct you what to do. So it's basically like your own coach in a box. So ideally, everyone should have access
to a defib
within a couple of minutes away. So I'm lucky I've got one in my chest. We've got one in our car just in case someone else. We've got one now in our street because we started CPR barbecues, CPR street parties, people raising funds to get their own defibrillators. And I know your state, I believe Seattle, has got one of the biggest. Yeah, there you go. Look at you go, Tracy.
Look at that. That's all our family and friends. That's the very first one we did.
Wow.
At CPR training and barbecue. Because we realized how lucky we were, and we thought the people we want to have this information are the people closest to us. And so, yeah, we put on that very first training.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So did you have some shrimp on the barbie?
Shrimp on it. Yeah,
they're actually covering up Donnie's Barbie there.
The Barbie.
Yeah.
No, we didn't have
Wow.
any shrimp that day.
Yeah.
No shrimp on the barbie? No.
Thank you, Crocodile Dundee, for
I
that.
know.
Yeah.
Such an awful accent. But when I try and do a British accent, it ends up sounding Australian. So I just give up and just do whatever comes to me. So are you still having those barbecues, even though COVID happened, right? Because, everything kind of changed when COVID happened.
No, our barbecues and our training, our face-to-face trainings have all stopped. But we've only just
for the moment.
Yeah, we've only just came out of complete lockdown here in Sydney 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago. So
look, and that's probably the reason why we've really beefed up the online, and we created the webinar so that everyone could get access to the very similar sort of content, no matter where they are in the world. So. CPRfriendly.org, and the webinar 45 minutes is the way to go if you really wanted it. We've even had people run their own family events or community events, and they just play the webinar in their event. So
Oh yeah, that's a great idea. Actually, that's a great idea. So go onto their website, take the training, and have a little party of your own.
Absolutely.
Yep. The only difference is with the States, obviously we refer to 000, whereas in the States it's 911. Yeah.
Right.
And of course, we have lots of resources there if people do want to do their own CPR friendly barbecue or training. There's resource kits so they can download, isn't there, to help organise that.
They can ask questions throughout the webinar, but hopefully the webinar answers most of those anyway. And I see that you responded actually when you did the webinar as well, and put in a little comment.
I didn't have any questions, but I loved it.
Wow, fantastic.
I didn't have any questions. Yeah, so you two also, so you mentioned the resources section of your website, which is really super cool. And then there's also a section of your website where you look at defibrillators, right? So here's just a little clip of it. And I don't know what's the Wiggles? The Wiggles, is that what it makes you do?
No, the Wiggles is probably the world's most famous kids entertainment show for people, and they have done videos and DVDs and performed all around the world, and they're Australian.
Yeah.
So
and one of their founding members had a sudden cardiac arrest live on stage.
Yeah. Only beginning of last year, and he's now also an advocate. And we've been working with him.
Greg Page.
Yeah.
Okay. And we were lucky enough, CPR Friendly was lucky enough to provide them the touring defibrillator
that
they now have on their touring show.
You can't quite see it in that photo, but they have their own special defibrillator. Actually, the defibrillator is from Seattle, and that particular defibrillator is a voice-activated one where if there's crowds, so for events, then the instructions for the CPR and defibrillator use actually increase based on the noise around them. So it's really quite clever.
Wow. Yeah, they have a bunch of different ones, and you go and lead them through the process of trying to figure out which one's the right one for them. And it really made me want to try and get one too, because you never can be too careful, right? You never can be too safe.
Yeah.
Well, and again, without preaching the innovations of Australia,
yes,
there is a new defibrillator.
Exciting news. Very exciting news.
This is new.
Podcast first.
There is a new technology that a group of Australians have been working on called Cell AED, as in automated external defibrillator. It is the size of slightly bigger than this phone, and you can put it in your Donnie. Would love to get one and put it in his handbag, or you can stick it in your car, or on your fridge at home.
Yep.
But basically, it's a one use. It snaps in half. It's got a cord and it goes bang bang. It's Wi-Fi enabled, so emergency services can get deployed as well, and that is going to revolutionise life-saving.
And it's about 1/10 of the cost of a normal AED. So it's going to
normal defibrillator.
Open it up to everyone. Maybe we've been pushing for quite some time to be part of the building code and things like that.
So that defibrillator has only just been launched in Europe. over the last month or so. But it is an Australian company, so it's kind of ironic. It isn't launched here at the moment, but it's about to be. So everyone will be able to have more or less their own personal defibrillator for just a couple $100, which would be amazing.
Yeah. And so do you know if you're making an impact on the survival rate? Now, the survival rate is from cardiac arrest is 9% in Australia, where you are from. Do you think that you're making an impact on that number? And how are you going to figure that out? Who are the statistical people?
We can really only judge. Yeah, look, we can really only judge by our personal competition that we've got going at the moment. We've got a competition to save lives. Currently, the score is 1-0, if you can see that. 1-0. Hutch has got a bit of work to do. So I'm happy with my stats of what I'm doing. But seriously, are we making an impact? Look, we can only hope. It's very hard to measure.
Look, all we can see is the stats from people who are visiting the website, watching the videos, doing the webinar, have been attending our face-to-face programs. We're getting more people CPR friendly, and we're getting more defibrillators out there in the local community. So it's got to have an impact. And basically, if we just save one life, and can give people more life, like Donnie and the bystanders were able to give me, then as far as we're concerned, that's a really crap percentage. No. As far as we're concerned, just one life would be amazing.
Yeah.
Because
and we're glad that your life is here right now, Hutch.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for helping him, Don, to be here today. Because otherwise,
it was my pleasure.
No kidding. Well, do we have time to play that short clip? It's about 4 minutes long, and it actually includes part of the 911 call. But I like the way that it was done. I think it was done for a TV show or a newscast or something.
Basically the Australian Today show. We've done a couple of segments with the Today show, and we also have a show called was it Sunrise? And we've just been getting out and about to try and raise the awareness of just a couple of simple steps can save a life. So the more
let's see
the
if we can cue this up here just for a second here.
Great.
I'm going to share my screen with you because I think I know how to do that.
I'd love your viewers to particularly note the fact that Donnie's in his jeans, and we had to set up for this shot. The bike riding. They just said, "Can you get your bikes out to do this clip?" And Donnie was in his jeans. So please make sure you, in the first 15 seconds, you notice.
Thanks, Hutch. You can always build me up. Brother.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
Okay, let's watch this thing here.
Oh, here he goes.
Hutch, Ian are best mates. Brother. Fit and healthy, they meet every Tuesday to go for a bike ride. But one morning in late September, Ian suddenly went into cardiac arrest.
I was pushing it a bit hard and just like blacked out.
Don was quick to respond, recalling his first aid training from decades earlier.
I hadn't done CPR for just over 30 years.
Without Don's help, Ian would certainly be dead.
If it wasn't for Don, he would not have made it. Absolutely, even within the first minute, life is very difficult to restore.
The 56-year-old spent 19 minutes in downtime before being rushed to hospital and placed in an induced coma.
I think it's a sign of Don's fantastic cardiopulmonary resuscitation, or CPR, that actually Ian was able to walk out of the hospital.
Ian now has a permanent defibrillator inside his chest and has set his heart on a new mission.
We hosted our first CPR barbecue because we wanted friends and family to really learn how to do CPR. Even my 13-year-old daughter, Sierra, she's actually done the training as well, and she was fantastic at it.
And joining us now are Hutch, as we're calling him, and Donald. Morning, gentlemen. Welcome. Now, Hutch, you're a pretty fit guy. What happened on the morning you blacked out?
Well, Donnie and I were out for a morning bike ride, and something really weird happened. He was actually leading for a change, and I just blacked out. Cardiac arrest, heart attack, and I don't remember anything for about 4 days. And he kicked in like a Superman and rang 000 and got straight into cardiac compression. So he's kind of my hero, and I'm sure we get a lot of wedding proposals now.
Yeah. Don, you remember that from 35 years ago. How did you remember what to do? Did you Were you scared?
Well, yeah, absolutely. I was quite shocked because when the triple O operator was coaching me through it, they were saying 30 compressions to 2 breaths, and my recollection from over 30 years ago was, 5 compressions to a breath at a time, and so I questioned them in the moment, and I think lots of people don't know how much this training has changed.
Okay, good point. So, does your adrenaline kick in? Do you you remembered what you were taught 35? I don't think I would.
No, definitely kicked in, and I was quite scared in the moment, especially when they said I had to start doing mouth to mouth, because I remember he'd just eaten garlic bread before we gone for our ride. And so
he couldn't wait.
No.
You two have got a lifelong bond now.
Look, he's a couple of months ago, he's my number 2 friend. He's moved up the league to number 1 now.
It's great.
And tell us what you're doing now, because obviously this is, you don't go through something like this and not change, do you?
Yeah, well, I think for me, number 1, family and friends, so important. Number 2, you don't have family and friends unless you know cardiac compression. So for us, it's all about our mission now to get as many people as possible to understand quick and easy steps to CPR. It's number 1 killer in the country. 30,000 people die each year. So we're all about getting the 70% of people in Australia who don't really know cardiac compression to just learn the elements, and it's really quick and easy to learn.
Yeah, because 4 out of 5 cardiac arrest will happen at home with someone that you know or are related to, and we just want people to have this little piece of important knowledge and training so they're confident to jump in.
That's good advice. What a great story.
Yeah.
What a great bond you two have.
It is.
Yeah, there's a great video online called Shock Verdict, which in 3 minutes shows everyone how to pretty much do CPR.
Okay.
For those that want to, sure, they can go and do the half-day training. But we're all about trying to get people to do more CPR barbecues. We ran one at Donny's a couple of weeks ago. We're doing a street CPR barbecue, so if clubs and families and friends can do all this, hopefully we can save 50,000 lives.
A good warning before summer. Donny, you're our hero.
Yeah. Thank you. A good reminder on why we should. Thank you very much.
The other thing too is, I don't know if you heard then in the background, at the start of that clip, they were playing "Staying Alive" by the Bee Gees, which of course is at the perfect rate. If ever you need a song in your head when you're giving CPR, the Bee Gees song "Staying Alive" is exactly the right rhythm.
I'm not really sure I remember that song. Can you sing it for me a little bit?
Yeah. Well, you can tell by the way I use my walk. I'm a woman's man. No time to talk. Music love.
All right, you're going to be disappointed you asked him that. Yeah,
I love that falsetto. Yes, and so if you take the 45-minute training, you'll be able to see Don do that and actually hear him singing, and he knows all the words. And then also your CPR rap. Do you have that on YouTube somewhere or any place where we can get it?
Hutch, did you want to sing a little bit? I've done my bit of singing.
Can't remember.
Did you? What? I just sang. Don't you want to? For all the viewers there on the podcast, have a bit of a rap? No. Oh, what a pity.
He's surviving.
I'm kind.
Yeah.
I'm kind.
Wow. Yeah. Well, so there is, again, it's great singing. I guess I could talk to you guys forever, but since we only have a limited amount of time, please visit their website. It's cprfriendly.org. They're just amazing and really great message. And yes, you can get CPR friendly in just seconds, 5 seconds at minimum or 45 minutes. And it's a very fun and entertaining way of being able to get possibly a loved one saved their lives if they happen to go into cardiac arrest. So I really appreciate the work that you two are doing. Any parting thoughts or sentiments about chaos, about cardiac arrest, about anything?
If you want to defeat the chaos in these situations, just remember any attempt is better than none at all. Jump in and have a go.
Yeah, and look, the key steps, if we give you the 15-second one, is if in doubt, just ring 911. They'll guide you through. Start cardiac compressions. And get a defibrillator on them as quickly as possible. Those 3 steps: ring, push, and shock are the key 3 steps.
And final question for you. Can a dog actually do CPR, or was that just kind of a ruse, a video trick?
Well, everyone's
Look,
going to have to do the
I was
training
just
to
about to
see
say
what
that.
you're talking about. Maybe we should leave that as a little nugget of excitement for people to have a look at.
If a dog can do CPR training, then you've got no one's got an excuse.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes, I was very impressed by that. So whatever it was, if it was real or if it wasn't, you go on and do their training, cprfriendly.org, and find out. And let me know. Let me know what you think about that. Again, it was so great having both of you here on Calming the Chaos today. Thank you so much for the work that you do, and both take good care.
Thanks, Tracy.
Thanks, Tracy. Thanks for having us.
Thank you for listening to Calming the Chaos podcast. If the information in this podcast has been helpful, please consider subscribing and share it with your friends. You can find this podcast on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Google Music, Spotify, and on YouTube. You can also go to our podcast website at www.calmingthechaospodcast.com, where you can listen to all Calming the Chaos podcasts. Thanks so much for listening, and I look forward to sharing my next podcast episode with you. In the meantime, take care.